Welcome back, y'all, and welcome to this week's episode of The Breakdown. Today I have Mr. Jared Calais hanging out with me.
Glad to be here.
Fun fact about Jared, he also bakes bread.
I do bake
so
bread.
He bakes bread. He has an apron. What does the apron say?
It says bread.
It does not say bread.
It absolutely
says
does.
Jared's Buns on the apron. Listen, welcome to the behind the scenes
to
here
The Breakdown
at Long Hollow. All right, so anyway, so today we had Kevin Ezell speaking for us. Kevin was actually our interim pastor in between the passing of our late pastor and Pastor Robbie. So it's just a blessing to have him back in the house with us today. And the title of his message was Living on Mission. And he started us off in Acts chapter 13. So Jared, can you read that for me?
For sure. Acts 13, 1 through 3. Now in the church at Antioch, there were prophets and teachers, Barnabas, Simeon, and a whole bunch of other guys.
That's what he
like
said.
Pastor Kevin said. As they were worshiping the Lord and fasting, the Holy Spirit said, "Set apart for me Barnabas and Saul for the work to which I have called them." Then after they had fasted, prayed, and laid hands on them, they sent them off. Yeah, so this whole idea of living on mission, I know a lot of times we think, okay, if you're going to live on mission, what are we going to do? We're going to sell everything we have. Yeah.
We're going to move to another country. We're going to have this drastic life change. And that's awesome. Like, I really commend people who do that. I mean, my cousin, he worked with NAM, who is actually the organization that Kevin works with, and he was in Africa. And, I mean, they sold everything they had to go and do that. And I really admire people who do that.
Yeah.
But I've also had conversations with people who are so fired up about overseas missions, but they're not willing to go to their neighbor. And if I'm honest with you, that person has been me at times. Like, sometimes it is easier for whatever reason to go to a place and live on mission where they don't know who you are and they don't know the baggage you carry with you, and they don't know, your whole story. And it's just easier sometimes to go to a place where they don't know you to live a life on mission. But we are called to live a life on mission every day right where we are, which can be a whole lot harder.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, your neighbors especially, that's a big one. They see the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. They see you get on your kids. They see you speed through the neighborhood, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of opportunities to
Yeah.
do the wrong thing
Yeah.
in front of people that you're around all the time.
Yeah. And we're coming out of this series talking about living by faith. And if we live by faith, then we can live on mission. And one of the things that he was talking about, if you live on mission, you live this life being sent, as he was talking, that we are fully dependent on the Holy Spirit. Okay, so there's a lot of things I know that we can do on a daily basis in the name of Jesus in our own strength. And that's not living dependent on the Holy Spirit. When we live dependent on the Holy Spirit, that's when we are a part of something that only God can accomplish. And for whatever reason, God decided that we were able to be a part of that. But these God-sized things, and it really hit me like, okay, am I living on mission right where God has me? And I think that's a question that we can all ask ourselves. Man, it's easy, again, to maybe pop into a Sunday, serve in kids ministry, and live on mission. But what about the other 6 days of the week, wherever God has placed us in our neighborhoods, in our workplaces? And that was really convicting to me to really think through, okay, am I living on mission in my neighborhood? So, Jared, I mean, what are you thinking about that?
Well, I think, too, before we get into that, what are you depending on? Like, what do you go, you go, well, I just don't think I can do this.
Right.
Like, everything else you can do in your own strength. But, like, what is it in your neighborhood or where you work? I just can't talk to this person about God, or I just can't do this one thing, or this is too hard.
Yeah.
Like, what are those things that maybe God's calling you to do that you need to depend on Him for?
Yeah. Oh, man, that's a whole another conversation that I don't mind getting into a little bit, because it's easy for us to do what we feel comfortable doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy for me to talk in front of people, large groups of people, but sometimes it's harder for me to talk one-on-one with people. You know what I'm saying? So that may mean that that's a place I need to be dependent on the Lord and kind of move into these uncomfortable situations for me and allow the Lord to make up the gap where I'm not comfortable doing.
Yeah.
So what are some opportunities maybe you've had in your neighborhood to live on mission?
Man, I live on mission in my neighborhood. That's a tough one. I think the biggest thing is probably just how you respond. We have a Facebook group for our neighborhood.
You gotta love Facebook
and
groups for neighborhoods.
It can get to be the wild, wild west sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's hard because whenever something happens, people can pile on.
Right.
So it's tough to back up and go, okay, I'm going to be the one that's going to reach out and extend grace or love in this situation where there is no love from other people, about, this or that. And just, I think getting to know your neighbors is a huge one. Living by faith and living on mission, how that connects. Find ways to connect with your neighbors, I think, is the starting point in that. Because you'll never have an opportunity to display things for them if you don't know them.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. So when I think of living on mission, my wife, Jenny, comes to mind. So she is like hospitality off the chart. She loves hosting. She loves cooking for people. Yep. So when we first moved in our neighborhood, we were actually the first house in our neighborhood, and then it grew around us, which was kind of a neat opportunity. But she would make chocolate chip cookies and just start taking those to people. And it was just a great way to start getting to know people, and that has led to other conversations. Being intentional with conversation, she is amazing at this. I'm terrible at this. You get me talking to somebody, I'm talking about the weather, I'm talking about things that do not matter. All of a sudden, people are bearing their souls to my wife for some reason, telling them their whole life story. But she just has such a way of being intentional with other moms at the playground in our neighborhood, or at the pool, or walking down the street. She just takes advantage of those little conversations. It's easy to walk our dog and just ignore everybody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And some people just want you to ignore them. But what if we took advantage of those little opportunities with whatever, you're gifted in? So it may be baking, and you can take advantage of that. Maybe talking, maybe taking advantage of that. Maybe caring. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, with everything going on with COVID, man, there's people who, are spending 10 days at a time locked in their house. This is a great opportunity for you to show up and provide a meal or something, and that's a way to live.
And the hard thing for some of us may just be paying attention.
Right. Oh my goodness, distracted.
Looking for those opportunities. That might be the living on mission for you. That next step would be like, okay, I'm gonna intentionally be looking for these opportunities.
Okay. All right. So this wasn't in the message, but this is a freebie because you brought it up. How many times do we neglect living on mission because we're living distracted? Okay, so I miss I'll be at the pool sometimes, and there's all kinds of other families in my neighborhood there, and I'm on my phone instead of being present and looking around and maybe seeing some opportunities around me. So, okay, that's a great conviction for me, Jared. Thank you.
Well, no,
thank you for that.
I think of the same exact thing. Being at the pool, there's other families there, but for me, it's like talking to the other dad with his kids at the pool.
Right, yeah.
Just because it's that breaking the ice is so awkward.
Right, it is. It is.
Extremely awkward.
It is. I just imagine you like run in and do a cannonball and then pop up and say, "Hey man, what's up?" That's kind of your personality. I just kidding. That's not Jared's personality whatsoever. So it may be your neighborhood where you can live on mission. I think of your workplace. Okay, so for Jared and I who work here at a church, I'll be honest, like, it is hard to live on mission sometimes because our 9 to 5, we are around other believers. But I think of like my brother, for instance. I just keep using family members.
There you go.
He's a home builder here in the Nashville area, and all the time I'm seeing him live on mission with the subcontractors that work with him, or his employees, or the people buying his houses. Like, I'm blown away by the way he's the hand and feet of Jesus in the workplace. And Jared, I don't know if you have a story of before we were in full-time vocational ministry, but I remember before I worked here at Long Hollow, I worked in sales at a window company. And I just remember it was a hard work environment. I was the only believer. I mean, just people were saying and living in ways that I didn't want to say and live. And I couldn't wait to get out of there. So I left that job and I went to my next job. And in the interview process, I knew this was a company that was owned by a believer. So I was excited to move into that work environment. And I was telling them about this situation. Oh yeah, I couldn't wait to get out of there. You said and did things all the time I didn't want to be a part of. I couldn't stand to be around it, yada, yada, yada. And the guy looked at me square in the face and he said, "Wow, you're pretty judgmental, aren't you?" And I'll tell you what, I felt about this big. I was like, okay, there's no way I'm getting this job for what? I did get the job. But I felt so small because I realized, man, I missed an opportunity. Like, God had placed me right then for such a time as that to live on mission. That was the whole reason God had me there, and I completely missed it because I didn't want to be a part of that, or I didn't want to be around those people. And I've been very convicted about that since then, to just be open and loving toward people who don't believe the same way I believe, or think the same way I think, or do the same things I do, because God came for them, you know?
Well, I think too, It's hard for me to think back yesterday, so I can't really
Right.
think back before ministry. But
That story just scarred me, so that's why I remember it.
working at a church, I mean, you have a couple opportunities here. There'll be times where you go out with your coworkers to lunch.
Right.
You have an opportunity right
good.
there. It's a small one, but
Yeah.
intentionality, learning the server's name, using it often, being overly nice, giving
Yeah.
a good tip, like being a good customer.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity in that. And the other one is just being aware of your coworkers, being aware of what they're dealing with and going
good.
through. And then walking by faith and walking in the Spirit. Always being ready to speak something over them, maybe that you see or
Right.
that God gives you a word for.
Yep.
You may not know that they need an encouragement, but ministry's tough sometimes, and
Yeah.
so those are just a couple opportunities I can think. Even though we work at a church,
Yeah.
to live on mission around other believers.
Yeah.
Even
That's a good reminder. So to wrap up, I want to encourage you with this. Man, God has called us to live sent, to live on mission. No matter where you go today, this week, God has put you there. And we have an opportunity to be a reflection of Jesus. Okay, so whether that's in your neighborhood, whether that's at your workplace, whether that's with your family, I just want to encourage you, spend time with Jesus, live out of the overflow of that, and let's make an impact everywhere we go. All right, we will see you on the next episode of The Breakdown.